There comes a moment in every believer's life when the weight of trials feels unbearable, when the silence of waiting feels louder than any answer, and when the heart whispers, "Does anyone truly see what I am going through?" To the patient ones, you who carried your pain without showing it to the world, who endured the storms with quiet dignity, who chose Sabr when despair seemed easier, this is your reminder that Allah saw you. He saw the nights you spent whispering du'as no one else heard. He saw the times you held back your tongue when you could have spoken in anger. He saw your tears, your sacrifices, your resilience, and your unwavering faith. What you thought was hidden has been recorded. What you thought was forgotten is preserved. And what you thought was silence was actually preparation for something greater. This is not just another reminder. It is Allah's way of telling you, I was with you all along, and now it is time to tell you everything. 1. Your patience was recorded in the heavens. When you went through hardships, difficulties, and painful moments, and yet you chose to remain patient for the sake of Allah, every single second of that endurance was written down and preserved by the angels. Not a single sigh, not a single tear, not a single moment of holding back your anger or frustration went unnoticed. Allah tells us in the Quran over and over again that indeed Allah is with the patient. This means you were never truly alone, even when you felt completely abandoned by people, even when you felt invisible, even when you thought no one understood what you were going through. Allah was with you in those moments, closer to you than anyone else. Sometimes you may have thought that staying silent when others insulted you or treated you unfairly was weakness. You may have thought that choosing not to retaliate made you look like you had lost. But in reality, in the sight of Allah, you were being elevated to a higher rank. Patience is not about doing nothing. It is not passivity or weakness. Patience is one of the strongest forms of action because it takes incredible strength to restrain your tongue when you want to speak, to control your hands when you want to fight, to steady your heart when it wants to collapse. Patience is discipline. It is the training of the soul. It is faith in motion, lived out in real time. Think of every time you held back a sharp word when someone provoked you. Think of every time you were wronged but chose to trust Allah instead of seeking revenge. Think of every time you felt broken but still got up, still prayed, still made dua, still walked forward. Each one of those moments was transformed into a mark of honor in your record. While people around you may have thought you were being quiet, Allah saw your silence as strength. While they may have believed they were breaking you, Allah was raising you. While they thought they were winning, Allah was recording you as victorious. This unseen record is being carefully written by the angels assigned to you. And one day, when this world is left behind and the day of judgment arrives, that very record will stand as a testimony in your favor. It will speak on your behalf. It will show that while others chose anger, you chose calm. While others sought revenge, you sought Allah. While others fell into despair, you held on to hope. And that testimony will outweigh the noise, the insults, and the hurtful actions of those who thought they defeated you. On that day, you will see that every second of patience was not wasted. It was an investment that Allah Himself was multiplying for you. 2. The wounds you hid became your witness. There are wounds you carry that no one else knows about. The silent heartbreaks, the disappointments you buried deep inside, the nights you cried into your pillow with no one to comfort you. These are not invisible to Allah. Even when you tried to put on a smile so that people would not notice your pain, even when you said, "I'm fine," though you were breaking inside, Allah saw it all. The Quran reminds us that Allah is Al-Basir, the all-seeing, and nothing escapes His sight. That means even the pain you tried to hide from others is not hidden from Him. Every single hardship you bore silently is written down and preserved. Every tear that fell in the darkness of the night was collected and kept safe, because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that Allah does not let the tears of his servant go to waste. Those tears were not weakness. They were proof. They were evidence that even though you were hurting, you chose to turn to him instead of turning away. And because of that, those very tears and those hidden wounds will rise as your witnesses on the day of judgment. When others mocked you, judged you, or ignored your pain, it may have felt as though you were completely alone in carrying it. But in truth, the unseen world was recording your endurance. The angels wrote down your quiet patience as an act of worship. Your wounds were not a mark of shame. They were a mark of love from Allah, because through them He was cleansing you of sins, raising your rank, and bringing you closer to Him. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that even the prick of a thorn removes sins from the believer. So imagine then what every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment, every deep wound has already washed away from your record. And think of this. Those very wounds that made you feel so fragile are, in fact, your strength in disguise. They are witnesses that you trusted Allah when you had every reason to collapse. You could have chosen anger, you could have drowned in bitterness, you could have walked away from your faith in despair, but you didn't. You chose to endure. You chose to remain patient. You chose to keep your trust in Allah alive. And now, every hidden wound carries your testimony that you lived for Him, even when it hurt. On the day of judgment, when people come looking for good deeds, you will find that the very pain you thought was breaking you has been turned into blessings stacked in your favor. The wounds you once wished away will stand before Allah as proof of your faith, and they will outweigh the arrogance of those who hurt you. They will speak for you and say, "This servant endured, this servant trusted, this servant believed." And when Allah honors you in front of all creation, you will realize that your wounds were never just scars. They were doors that led you closer to Him. 3. Every delay was preparation, not neglect. There were times when you sat with your head in your hands and asked yourself, "Why is nothing changing? Why is Allah not answering me? Why is this taking so long?" You prayed, you cried, you waited, but it felt like the heavens were silent. In those moments, you may have thought that Allah had turned away from you, that He had abandoned you, that your voice was too small to reach Him. But the truth is far more beautiful. Allah never neglected you, and He never ignored you. What you saw as delay was not rejection. It was preparation. It was Allah shaping you, protecting you, and building you into the person who could carry the blessings you were asking for. Think of this. If a fruit is picked before it ripens, it is bitter and inedible. No matter how much you want it early, it simply cannot nourish you until its time has come. In the same way, some of the things you prayed for were not ready yet, and in some cases, you were not ready yet. If Allah had handed them to you immediately, they might have harmed you, broken you, or made you arrogant. Instead, Allah delayed, not because He wanted to withhold from you, but because He wanted to give to you at the most perfect time, when that blessing would truly serve you rather than destroy you. You see, waiting is not punishment. Waiting is training. In the waiting, your patience grows, your character develops, your heart learns to lean on Allah more than on the world. Without realizing it, the delay was polishing you like a rough stone being smoothed by the river. Every day that passed while you waited was not wasted. It was chiseling away your weakness, your pride, and your dependence on people, so that when Allah finally placed the blessing in your hands, you would not misuse it, you would not lose it, and you would not forget who gave it to you. How many times have we seen someone achieve success too quickly and then fall apart under the weight of it? How many times have we seen someone receive money, love, or power before they were ready, only to watch it corrupt them and turn into their downfall? Allah, in His infinite wisdom, does not give His beloved servants something that will break them. Instead, He delays, and in the delay, He protects. What feels like silence is actually care. What feels like abandonment is actually Allah holding you back from a door that is not safe for you yet. The Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, "But perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing, and it is bad for you. Allah knows, while you do not know." 2:216. This is the heart of patience. Understanding that your knowledge is limited, but Allah's knowledge is infinite. What you saw as denial was actually divine precision. Every not yet from Allah was in reality His mercy covering you, His wisdom guiding you, His love preparing you. And then, when the appointed time comes, when Allah finally opens that door, you will look back and realize why you had to wait. You will see that had He given it to you earlier, it would have slipped through your fingers or weighed you down. But by delaying, He allowed you to grow into the person who could handle it, who could appreciate it, who could use it in a way that drew you closer to Him instead of further away. The waiting was never wasted. It was an investment in your strength, your faith, and your future. So the next time you feel delayed, remind yourself, Allah is never late, and He is never absent. His timing is not like ours. His timing is perfect. The delay is not neglect. It is preparation. And when the moment arrives, you will see that what felt like a long wait was, in fact, Allah arranging everything in the most flawless way. 4. Your quiet du'as were echoed in the throne above. There were nights when you whispered du'as so softly that even the walls around you could not hear them. There were moments when your lips moved but no sound came out, when your heart cried to Allah while your tongue fell silent. Sometimes all you could do was let your tears fall onto the prayer mat, and you wondered if those tears even meant anything. You may have asked yourself, did Allah hear me? Did my words reach Him? Or did they disappear into the darkness of the night? What you didn't realize was that every single dua, every broken whisper, every silent plea rose higher than you could imagine, carried by the angels, and it was presented before the throne of the Most Merciful. Allah never allows a single prayer of His servant to be wasted. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that Allah is shy to return the hands of His servant empty when they are raised in supplication. Imagine that. The Creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who needs nothing and no one, feels shy to turn you away when you ask Him sincerely. This means that every time you raised your hands, even if your heart was heavy, even if your voice was weak, even if you could not string together perfect words, Allah was listening with more attention than you can comprehend. Some of your du'as were answered immediately, though you may not have noticed. The danger you avoided, the harm that never reached you, the blessing that came quietly into your life, all of those were answers to your du'as. Some of your du'as were delayed, not because Allah did not hear them, but because the timing was not right. A du'a answered too early can be like medicine given in the wrong dose. It may harm instead of heal. So Allah, in His wisdom, stores your du'as, guards them, and releases them at the perfect time when the answer will uplift you instead of break you. And then there are du'as that Allah saves entirely for the hereafter, transforming them into rivers, gardens, palaces, and eternal peace that will make you forget every pain you endured in this life. You see, du'a is not just about asking, it is about connecting. Every time you whispered to Allah, even if you received no immediate response, you were strengthening a bond that no hardship could sever. Every tear you shed while making du'a washed away sins you did not even realize were on your record. Every moment you spent calling out to Him, even in silence, was a declaration that you knew where your help comes from. And that declaration alone was honored in the heavens. So never think your du'as were ignored. Never think your prayers disappeared into emptiness. They were heard, they were written, and they were echoed in the highest realm above the throne. The Quran reminds us, "And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the call of the supplicant when he calls upon me." 2:186. This is Allah's promise, and His promise never fails. One day you will stand before Him, and you will see mountains of blessings you don't remember earning. And when you ask, "Where did this come from?" it will be said to you, "These are the answers to the du'as you made in the world, the ones you thought were lost, the ones you thought were ignored. They were here all along, waiting for you." So keep whispering, even when your voice shakes. Keep raising your hands, even when your heart feels heavy. Keep believing, even when you cannot see the results. Because in truth, your quiet du'as are not just prayers, they are echoes in the heavens, and they are treasures waiting for you with Allah. 5. The angels wrote down your restraint as victory. There were moments in your life when you could have responded with anger, when you could have said something sharp that would have cut someone down, when you could have fought back, shouted louder, or sought revenge. And yet, you chose silence. You chose calmness. You chose to walk away, not because you were weak, but because you feared Allah more than you feared looking small in the eyes of people. In those very moments, when others thought you had lost, when people may have looked at you as if you were powerless, the angels were writing something else entirely. They were recording your restraint as victory. In the eyes of the world, strength is often measured by who can shout the loudest, who can fight the hardest, who can win the argument. But in the sight of Allah, true strength is something entirely different. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The strong one is not the one who defeats others in wrestling, but the strong one is the one who controls himself in anger." That means your silence in the face of provocation, your calmness when someone tried to drag you into ugliness, your patience when every part of you wanted to explode. Those were your moments of triumph. They were victories of the soul, victories of faith, victories that elevated you far higher than any argument ever could. Think about it carefully. Every time you restrained yourself, every time you chose to control your tongue instead of letting it lash out, every time you calmed your heart instead of letting it burn with rage, the angels were writing, "This servant chose Allah over anger. This servant won against his own ego. This servant conquered his own soul." And in truth, this is the greatest victory anyone can achieve, because it is easy to defeat another person, but it is far more difficult to defeat yourself. Restraint does not mean weakness. It means mastery. It means you understood that responding with anger might give you a moment of satisfaction, but it would cost you your peace and perhaps your place with Allah. So instead of feeding your ego, you chose to protect your soul. Instead of chasing the approval of people, you chose the approval of Allah. That is strength of the highest order, and that is why the angels were recording it with honor. Imagine this. One day you stand before Allah, and your book of deeds is opened, and there, among the prayers and fasts, are pages upon pages filled with moments you may not even remember. Moments when someone insulted you, when someone tried to humiliate you, when someone provoked you, and instead of reacting, you held back. To you, it might have seemed small at the time, but to Allah, it was greatness. To you, it might have felt like silence, but to Allah, it was victory. And do you know the beauty of this victory? When you restrain yourself for Allah's sake, it is not only written as a good deed, it is multiplied. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told us that when someone controls their anger, Allah fills their heart with faith and peace. That means your act of restraint was not just recorded, it was rewarded, both in this world and the next. In this world, you gained peace of mind and dignity. In the next, you will gain rewards beyond measure. So never regret the times you walked away from an argument. Never regret the moments you bit your tongue and stayed silent for the sake of Allah. Never regret the times you chose calmness over chaos, dignity over pettiness, silence over shouting. Because in those moments, you were not losing, you were winning. You were winning battles that no one else could see. You were defeating the whispers of shaitan that wanted to pull you into anger. You were rising higher while others were sinking into ugliness. And most importantly, you were writing pages of victory into your record that will shine on the day of judgment. The world might call it weakness, but Allah calls it strength. The people might think you lost, but the angels know you won. And on the day when all truths are revealed, you will see that every act of restraint was not silence. It was a roar of victory that echoed in the heavens. 6. The hardship you faced was a test of love. There were moments in your life when the weight of your trials felt unbearable. Nights when you lay awake wondering why everything seemed so hard for you, while others appeared to walk through life with ease. You may have looked at yourself and thought, why me? Why does Allah keep sending me challenges? Why can't my life be simple like theirs? And in those quiet whispers of doubt, you perhaps even wondered if Allah was angry with you, if He had abandoned you, or if your struggles were signs that you were not favored. But the truth is something entirely different, something so beautiful that it changes the way you see every hardship you ever went through. Your tests were not signs of rejection, they were signs of love. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "When Allah loves a servant, He tests him." This hadith is a key to unlocking the meaning of every difficulty you've faced. It tells us that the very fact that you were tested, the very fact that your heart was stretched and your soul was put through trials, was because Allah had chosen you. He selected you for something higher, something greater, something purer. He knew your soul could carry weight that others could not, and so He gave you a path that would polish you, refine you, and raise your rank in a way that ease never could. Think of it like this. Gold is not purified by being left alone. It is purified by being placed in fire, melted, reshaped, and refined until it shines. In the same way, your hardships were the fire that purified your heart, burned away arrogance, burned away attachment to this dunya, and left behind a soul that is closer to Allah, more humble, more sincere, and more unshakable in faith. Without the fire, gold remains covered in impurities. Without hardship, the soul remains heavy with pride, laziness, and forgetfulness. Allah loved you too much to let you remain like that, so He placed you in situations that would refine you into something better. Every tear you shed, every disappointment you endured, every door that was closed on you was not a punishment, it was preparation. It was Allah calling you closer, inviting you to rely on Him more deeply, to speak to Him more sincerely, to remember Him more often. When your heart broke, it broke in the direction of Allah. When people left you, it was so you would walk closer to Allah. When your plans collapsed, it was so you could accept Allah's plan instead. The hardship was not there to destroy you. It was there to redirect you, to remind you that your home is not here. Your peace is not here. Your eternal comfort lies with Allah alone. Sometimes Allah withholds ease in this life because He wants to give you eternal ease in the next. He tests you here so that on the day of judgment, when others are trembling with fear, you will be standing firm with a light shining before you. The Quran tells us, "Do the people think that they will be left to say, 'We believe,' and they will not be tested? But we have certainly tested those before them, and Allah will surely make evident those who are truthful, and He will surely make evident the liars." 29:2-3. This ayah reminds us that hardship is not random, it is proof of faith. It separates the sincere from the insincere, the steadfast from the wavering. And here is the most comforting truth. No hardship comes to a believer without benefit. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that even a thorn that pricks you removes sins. So what then of the illnesses you bore, the betrayals you endured, the heartbreaks you carried, the losses you faced? Each one was washing you clean, erasing sins you may not even remember, raising your rank higher and higher in the sight of Allah. Every hardship was secretly writing mercy into your book of deeds, a mercy you will desperately need when you stand before Allah. So the next time you remember your pain, see it differently. Remind yourself, this was not a punishment, it was love. Allah tested me because He wanted me closer. He tested me because He wanted to forgive me. He tested me because He wanted to polish me until my heart could shine with faith. What you thought was breaking you was actually building you. What you thought was pushing you down was actually raising you up. What you thought was Allah's absence was actually His deepest care. And when you finally stand before Him and see the endless reward that was stored for every hardship, you will realize that Allah never burdened you except to lift you higher. Every hardship you faced was a hidden gift, a secret mercy, and a sign that you were beloved to Him all along. 7. Your reward is beyond imagination. You need to know this truth with absolute certainty. Every moment of patience you showed, every tear you held back, every insult you ignored, every prayer you whispered through your pain, none of it is gone. None of it is wasted. Every act of endurance has been preserved for you, multiplied for you, and saved for you in a way that will one day leave you in awe. Allah Himself has promised this in the Quran. Indeed, the patient will be given their reward without account. 39 minutes, 10 seconds. Without account. That means without measure, without calculation, without limit. While other people's deeds will be weighed on scales, your patience is so honored that Allah will reward it in ways beyond the boundaries of numbers. Think about that. The fasting of Ramadan has its measure. The giving of charity has its measure. Even the prayer has its measure. But patience, the act of bearing pain, controlling anger, trusting Allah through hardship, this is the one thing that Allah singles out as being rewarded without measure. Why? Because patience is not a one-time act. It is not a single moment. It is a continuous struggle, lived out day after day, hour after hour, test after test. It is you restraining your soul again and again when it wants to break free into anger, despair, or sin. It is you fighting invisible battles no one else sees, carrying weights no one else notices, and still standing. This is why Allah rewards it beyond imagination, because patience is lived in secret, endured in silence, and sustained by faith alone. Imagine the day of judgment. The earth is shaking, the sun is brought near, people are trembling in fear, and everyone is desperate for their record to show even one good deed that can save them. And then you are called forward. In front of all creation, Allah honors you. The angels bring forth your record, and they open the pages filled with moments of patience you had forgotten about. The night you held back your tears so no one else would see. The morning you chose forgiveness instead of anger. The day you walked away instead of fighting back. All of these moments are brought forward, shining brighter than you could have ever imagined. And Allah declares, "This servant endured for my sake. This servant trusted me. This servant was patient, and for this patience the reward will be given without account." And then the gates of Jannah are opened for you. Gardens unlike anything you have seen, rivers sweeter than anything you have tasted, palaces filled with peace, joy, and honor, all of them prepared for you as the fruit of your patience. The Quran describes paradise as a place where the people of patience will be welcomed by the angels, who will say, "Peace be upon you for what you patiently endured, and excellent is the final home." 13:24. Think about the weight of those words. The angels themselves will greet you with peace, not because you had power, not because you were wealthy, not because you were famous, but because you were patient. And even in this world, your reward is not only in the hereafter. Patience brings peace to the heart. It softens your soul. It protects you from regret. It allows you to sleep at night knowing that you chose dignity over anger, trust over despair, faith over fear. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us, "Whoever practices patience, Allah will grant him patience, and no one is given a gift better and more comprehensive than patience." That means patience itself is a blessing, and through it, Allah keeps gifting you strength, peace, and resilience that others cannot understand. But the fullness of your reward, the part that is beyond imagination, will be revealed when you stand before Allah. Because on that day, you will finally understand why you went through what you went through. You will finally see that every pain you endured was not meaningless. It was currency. Every second of patience was being deposited into an eternal account. And when Allah pours out that reward without measure, you will realize that if you had the chance to go back, you would endure it all again, because what He gave you in return is greater than every hardship, greater than every pain, greater than everything this world ever took from you. So hold on to this truth. Your patience has already built palaces you cannot see yet. It has already planted gardens you will one day walk through. It has already carved rivers that will flow for you. And above all, it has already written your name among those whom Allah Himself will honor on the greatest day of all. Your patience was never for nothing. It was the key that unlocked a reward beyond imagination. To the patient ones, this message is for you. Every hardship you carried, every wound you hid, every prayer you whispered, every time you waited while others rushed ahead, every time you stayed silent while others shouted, none of it was unseen, none of it was wasted. Allah saw you. He saw you when you endured in silence, when you walked away with dignity, when you trusted Him, even as your heart was breaking. And while the world may have thought you were weak, Allah recorded every second of it as strength. Your patience was not just something you practiced in this world. It became your crown in the unseen. It was written in the heavens, preserved by the angels, and echoed in the throne above. Your wounds became your witnesses. Your delays were turned into preparation. Your quiet du'as were never lost. They were carried to Allah, stored for you, and waiting to bloom in ways you cannot yet imagine. Your restraint was counted as victory, your hardships were given as a sign of Allah's love, and your reward has already been promised, without measure, beyond imagination, and without account. On the day of judgment, when people are trembling and desperate for even a small good deed, you will find mountains of rewards waiting for you, rewards you didn't even remember earning. And when you ask, "Where did this come from?" it will be said, "This is from your patience. This is from the nights you endured in silence. This is from the tears you shed in secret. This is from the moments you trusted Allah when you could have given up." And in that moment, every hardship will suddenly make sense. Every wound will be healed. Every tear will turn into a jewel. And every moment of patience will prove to have been the greatest investment of your life. So do not think your waiting was for nothing. Do not think your silence went unnoticed. Do not think your prayers were ignored. Do not think your pain was meaningless. All of it is written. All of it is preserved. And all of it is preparing for you an ending more beautiful than anything this world could ever offer. To the patient ones, Allah saw you. Allah never left you. Allah has been preparing for you something greater, something eternal, something beyond your imagination. Hold on, because soon patience will no longer be needed, and only joy, only peace, and only eternal relief will remain.